Hello good people, my name is Ademba Alans. Patrick Osoi, Hiram Kimathi and Jackson Kuria formed Fighting Brutality and Impunity, that is FBI movement. The main aim of this movement, as they said, was to investigate and to document police brutality that has been happening in Kenya ever since Reject the Finance Bill 2024 erupted in Kenya, that is last year. And also remember that 2025 we have also experienced another level of police brutality. Not forgetting that people like Albert Ojwang died, Boniface Kariuki and many other, including children, died this year. So the movement has caused a lot of public outcry and public attention from both the Kenyan citizens and the government. The movement caused a lot of public attention mostly because of the nature in which it was formed. From the videos and the pictures that were shared online mostly by the three members of this movement, they are seen dressed in military-like attires in a shooting range. And from the videos, they are also seen carrying guns and rifles, which are not clear whether it belonged to the three members of the movement or it belonged to the shooting range. Two members of the movement, led by Patrick Osoi, the founder, and Jackson Kuria, have been arrested by the DCI and arraigned at Kahawa law courts. They are, however, being detained to give the authority more time to do further investigations in the movement and the nature and also the mission and what the movement tries to achieve. But the big question, however, is who is Patrick Osoi? You see, contrary to what most people know, Patrick Osoi is not just an ex-KDF officer. Patrick Osoi started as an officer in the National Youth Service, that is NYS, before joining the KDF. Upon his retirement from the KDF, Patrick Osoi joined NIS, that is National Intelligence Service. And Patrick Osoi said that my time at the NIS is over, and his time to serve the world was not over. Patrick Osoi later joined the US military army for 3 years, after which he retired and came back to Kenya. And upon coming back to Kenya, Patrick Osoi decided that I'm going to run for the Kenyan presidency and I'm going to become the next president of Kenya. That is the 6th president of the Republic of Kenya. I wanted to know more about Patrick Osoi and I had a sit-down interview with him to get to know who is Patrick Osoi.
I want to say that I'm a man who has grown or who hails from 3 counties. I was born in Viga County, schooled in Embu County, raised in Nairobi. So I'm a man who comes from 3 counties. That is why I call myself. I basically actually speak more than 8 languages fluently. So if we go to Eastern Bantus, I speak all of them. I go to Western Bantus, I basically speak mostly all of them. So what I want to mean is that I'm that Kenyan who has been in the space of interacting with people in all diversity. Basically, my dream to become the Kenyan presidency started when I was around 23, 24 years, while I was a special force soldier. I think you guys, you are about, you know, Chaco business with KDF, a lot of things that were playing politics in 2012, 2011. And I felt the need whereby I realized that people were being used, or we were being used by the government system not to fulfill what we were trained to do, because we are trained to protect the people. We are not trained to cater for the interests of the people or to cater the interests of a person. So that made my mind to think like, I think the only way for me to make sure that this ends, I have only to become the topmost commander to make sure that we are able to eliminate the people using others, impunity, nepotism, and people using others basically for political gain. So that pushed me to want to become the 6th president at very tender age. And anytime I've worked and I've been in those sectors of government you've heard me, I've worked before. That is, working in the KDF Special Forces, I still knew that I will one day, one time, run for the Kenyan presidency. So I trained proficiently. My mental training is good, my physical training is good, And also my spiritual training is good and prepared for 2026 election, because for me, I'm calling election as it is, as provided by our constitution. We are supposed to have elections come 11th August 2026. And I'm observing keenly to see what the Supreme Court, the judgment they are going to give. Because when we come out to have the government in 11th August 2026, which is in the 50th year, it will not be subverting the Constitution. It will about what the Constitution provides. Therefore, my life in KDF, I worked in KDF, I schooled while in KDF because I had to defer schooling, joined the KDF at a tender age of 19, 20 years, went back to school around 3 years, and then now joined the Special Forces. And the reason, let me surprise you why I joined the Special Forces, is because Patrick Osoi, I wanted to be the last person, to be that person who will be in the forefront, put my life for the sake of other people. I did not want to say that I'm just within the people to protect the people. So my mindset, even to come for this seat or running for this seat, is about the people, is about justice, is about protecting the people, is about fairness. And that is why I want to run for the Kenyan 60th president.
You see, for Patrick Osoi, another problem that Kenyans have is electing older people into some of the top or the most crucial government positions. For example, as he said, somebody who is 70 years old right now cannot make policies, or let me just say, cannot see or cannot do anything to solve the problems that we will have in the next 30 years. And I asked him, so what are these policies that Patrick Osoi is going to put in place to make sure that we don't fall back to the same problems that we have right now when it comes to 2020, 30, or let me just say 20 or 30 years to come from now? These were his answers.
The policies that we are talking about today, these people cannot understand unemployment, even including Dr. William Ruto, his cabinet, even the people who are surrounding him. I do not understand whether they do not check the history of the countries like Estonia, how it's operated, countries like Malaysia, countries like China and other places, how this country that we were in the same economic scale, they have been able to scale higher and have unemployment minimized. Today, we cannot have a government that we have not heard people saying that we want to have manufacturing revolution. We want to have agricultural revolution. What we are seeing today is an agenda for it's called one world order being propagated to make sure that we cannot even manufacture such a glass. To make sure that we cannot have our farming system as an African, sorry to say. They are making sure that they kill the system of manufacturing, they kill the system of agricultural revolution to make sure that we are continuing to have an employment in this country. Let me tell you, my brother, having worked in the National Intelligence Service, I have the information and I also participated in understanding the mapping of resources of this country. We have $27 trillion worth of resources in this country. That calls for what? 50 million Kenyans, including kids. If we divide that money in terms of the resources we have, everyone will go with 70 million Kenya shillings. So we are looking at a country where people are trading with this country at an expense of young people because they will not be there in the next 30 years. An investor, a foreigner comes in this country, comes and gives you $500 billion, which is 500 billion, to trade with 95% of our natural resources. We have leases here in this country going to 99 years of leases. Not because we don't have Kenyans and people who can run those farms or those countries, but because the agenda is not about the people. The agenda is about people enriching themselves. And that is why Patrick Osoi comes in place. Myself, let me tell you, and let me surprise you. To become a special force soldier, you've been squeezed to become selfless. You've been squeezed to understand you have to die before others die. I have given my life in front line. Now, I want to give my life to make sure that this country, we have equity, we have fairness, and we have justice. To make sure that every Kenyan feel at home. And let me surprise you. In 2028, God willing, we are going to have more employment that we'll have to source people to come and work for this country.
If you're elected the president.
If I'm elected as the president, I want to prove you right or wrong, because one, do we have a government today that is advocating for manufacturing? No. We are having a government that is, instead of advocating for manufacturing or even agricultural revolution, they are actually taking money and little money of people that are working. Our teachers today, our police officers today, our KDF today, our doctors today, our peoples in the sectors of the government. Instead of the government developing things to develop the economic value of this country, they are taking money in terms of taxes, thinking that is the way to develop a country. Let me tell you, let's talk about the housing project. We are not disputing that housing is a bad thing. But let me tell you, the model at which the housing was brought to Kenyans, was imposed to Kenyans, was basically to steal from Kenyans. Why am I saying this? If today and that time, if I was the president and I want to do the housing for the people, the Kenyan people, why did the president not do public-private privatization to make sure that they call the investors, tell them we have 400 billion or 1 trillion worth of land and we would want to partner with you. Give us 50% of the value of the land and develop the land. Let the people buy the properties, and the money you make, we can get probably 40% and you go with 60%. The government would have made money other than going to the pockets of Kenyans and collecting money in terms of housing levy. And I want to say, the government of today, the government of this country has been mishandled for many years. And let me tell you, the problem and the solution is not one term. The solution is not saying that we are going to replace Ruto with somebody else. William Ruto and Dr. William Ruto is just a drop in a big ocean as a problem. The thing that we need to do as young people is to make sure that we drain the swamp, see the loopholes, and fill our country. The reason I'm saying that is because even if today we decide to drive the economy of this country with the massive corruption we have in this country, with the impunity we have in this country, with the nepotism we have in this country, we are not going to have the country, even if Patrick Osoi becomes the president now. And when we get into place, and I want to say this, the young people has to come out. They have to understand that we cannot have anybody fix this problem for us. It is us to fix the problems. It is us to fix this country.
Can the police officer defy orders from their boss?
Can I tell you something? A police officer, a military officer, or any person in security agency officer, for you to understand and to know what unlawful command is, because we have two types of command. We have lawful command and unlawful command. The police officers and security agencies in these countries are protected by the provisions of defiling unlawful order. And if you suffer, like me, I'm saying today, if any officer in this country will suffer for defiling unlawful order and is terminated from working, it is only 1 year and something. I'm going to make sure that I reinstate them and get back to the service, to the people. And I want to be confident to tell them and to tell the officers in this country, do not follow unlawful orders. If they want to sack you, let them sack you. If they want to terminate your job, let them terminate you. But it needs to be in record that once you've been terminated, we are taking notes. We are here taking notes to make sure that the officers that defiled unlawful orders, we reward them when we get into power. So they should not be worried. And I'm here and the confident I can tell them, I have worked inside the system. None of the peoples even running for presidents who have worked inside the system. The system means I've worked for the military intelligence, I've worked for the special forces of this country, I have worked for the National Intelligence in National Intelligence Service of this country. I have worked and I understand the system inside. Them, including Dr. William Ruto, can only manipulate the system. So what I'm telling them, that there is no possibility that Dr. William Ruto or any other person, I've heard them saying that they are going to steal elections for Dr. William Ruto. I want to give them a warning and to sound them a warning. This election is not like any other election. They should not dare. And even the people in the commission that have been put in place, I want to tell them to be patriotic and to be faithful Kenyans. Because the elections of next year, that is 11th August 2026, those elections are not just elections. Are elections that we, the people who have been in the system, have decided to take part because we have realized that these people will continue to loot this country, will continue to oppress the Kenyan people. And for me, I've been trained and was trained to protect the interests of the people. And that is my mission.
Of course, I want to know, where do Kenyans go wrong when it comes to elections? Why do we keep on recycling the same corrupt and old politicians? Why do we keep on electing same incompetent leaders in some of the top crucial government positions that we have in Kenya?
If we Kenyans are really tired and we want the true leadership that we want, we must cease to receive 1,000 from a politician. And I want to do a very small mathematics for you. If you received 1,000 from a politician, a president in this case, to elect them, if you divide that for 5 years, it's 200 bob per year. If you divide that per day, it's 50 cents. And these people are stealing billion. And the intelligence is they are stealing 2 billion every day. And this money stashed offshore accounts. So what I want to say that I understand every person has a constitutional right to elect the leaders they elected, or even to contest for the position they contested. But the biggest mistakes that we do as the people, as the voters, is to look at people, one, thinking that because a person is a philanthropist, is a good leader. When you look at a person from the point of, because he gave me money, he's a good leader. What we have been doing for many years, and I want to tell you, is that we have been trading our rights, our birthrights, with the small money that we receive from this politician. And now they auction the country. Are we able to make noise for someone who paid you to be in their position? And I was asking some members somewhere and asking them, for you to run for Kenyan presidency, you require constitutionally you require like 2 billion. And my question is, do you think how prestigious is it to become a Kenyan president and I spend 2 billion to just become the Kenyan president? Yet the 2 billion at a rate of 15% can give me 300 million per year. If I spend 200,000 every day out of 2 billion, I'll spend for 27 years even if I never invested that money. So we have to be logic this time round to realize the monies that they are giving to us and fishing out to us are the monies that they have stolen from us. So be very fast to pick the money. After picking the money, tell them this money are the monies you stole from us, and therefore, please, it is your time to go home.
You take the money there.
Take the money, please, because it is the money they have stolen from us. And let them go home. So let us not have money-minded mentality, and yet we want a change we want. Let me tell you, the predicament that is awaiting us if we are still the Kenyans that think William Ruto will give us money, because William Ruto, Dr. William Ruto, has stolen good monies in trillions. So if it's about giving the money, he is going to wash people with the money. And because that is the only card they have, that the only secret they think they have, that they are going to give Kenyan money and go away with it and get into power, it is a lie. This time round, tuko macho. We are going to take those monies because they belong to us, and we are not going to vote any leader that has been there and who has not been advocating for the change that we want. For the leaders that have not been standing with the people to bring the good governance we want. For the leaders that have not stood with the people to bring the accountability and transparency that we want. For the leaders that are in parliament, instead of bringing effectiveness and efficiency in our government system, they are just there seated, receiving allowances, wondering that why should you be given a sitting allowance for a job that you are monthly paid for? We have to change our country. we have to fix this country.
Is the politics of tokenism ever going to be solved in Kenya?
We look at leaders from the level of how much money do they have. Patrick Osoi is running for the Kenyan 60th president. What is his net worth? Kenyans, we have to look at things differently. And that is why I'm saying and I'm advocating for meritocratic leadership, whereby you be elected because of the ideologies to propagate the change that people want. It's not about where you come from. And let me tell you, in an enforced governance system, let me tell you, you will never even want to know who becomes the deputy president, who becomes the president, who becomes what. But today we have a problem with the governance. So this country, everybody has to say, mtu wetu hajaingia, ama my person need to be in power in that case. So the fact is that we have a problem that we have to fix, and to fix it once and for all. And therefore, that is why I'm saying, and last 2 years I said, while I was in Washington, D.C., that the Kenyan people, it has come a time whereby the leadership that we are embracing will be collectiveness of our abilities, expertise, and even the resources that we have to make sure that even a Gen Z like you, like the other one, like me, that you're not elected from the fact that you have money. We will support you to get into that seat, because when you bring the problem, we'll ask you whose money took you to that seat. We are able to call you for accountability, but we cannot call accountability for leaders who give us money. And after giving us money, they are stealing from us. Stealing from us is because we traded, and we were given small monies to trade with our monies.
And Mr. Patrick, you have to tell us, how will unemployed Kenyans pay taxes?
That's the most amazing thing that I have witnessed in this country. Instead of a country sitting down to figure out how we can create an employment, they are giving people something called kazi mtaani. One day I stopped at Westlands, someplace in Kinoa, and asked them, how much are you paid per day? They told me 500 per day. That is 15,000 Kenya shillings. And my question was, why has the government had to go such low to tax others, provide 500 for others, without thinking to create manufacturing in this country? Do you know what is a way forward, even to create employment for a country? The companies we have in this country, whether foreign or a company, they pay 37.7% corporate tax. You have taken a loan from a bank which is 25%. Tell me, how well will you run the company? So we have to come with a model whereby these companies, whether international or something, we reduce the corporate tax to create more employment. And we tell them, the more you employ the young people, the less taxes you pay to the government. Therefore, the government will not worry about employing people. We only worry to support the business community and business people to do the business and employ the young people in this country. We will set an African I would say platform for the companies to have their installation in this country if we reduce our corporate tax. That one is just one of the secrets that I can give to them. If they want to create employment for the young people, even before, instead of making noise around, let them reduce the corporate tax of the companies. Today we have more than 12 international companies and companies closing in Kenya because they cannot sustain the business environment. What are we taking? 12 companies closing up in Kenya. How many people are we making them go jobless? So many people. So the government of today, I want to tell them, we are not here to oppose you. We are here to oversight you. We are here to give you the ways to have the solutions. But because instead of listening to us and having the solution at hand, what you're doing and the reward you're doing is to arrest, abduct, and accuse people, arraign people in court in charges of terrorism charges, which in this case, I'm not sure whether they understand what terrorism charges are.
Mr. Patrick is pro the military way of ruling a country. Let us use the example of Burkina Faso, Ibrahim Traore. So I ask Mr. Patrick, will he suspend the constitution when he gets to the office?
I'm wondering, what constitution are we talking about here? We have no constitution in Kenya. No one follows the constitution in this country. No one follows the rule of the law in this country. The constitution we have is just a book that is there to protect the interests of the elite. And the most, in this case, the chief thieves and looters and people who have manipulated Kenyans for many years. So as a matter of fact, and what I would say, we do not have a constitution that protects the interests of the people. We allied that the power is with the people under Article 1 of our constitution. Do you think even the people, the citizens of this country participate in the decision making of this country? Absolutely not. So we do not have a constitution. Therefore, what I think would be the best thing is that once we get into power as young people, we need to come with a constitution, a small constitution that we can follow. A constitution that we can all adhere to, not a book whereby they can find a loophole to impeach a sitting deputy president because of their personal interest.
And of course, I completed the interview with the same question. Why does Patrick Osoi wants to become the next president of Kenya?
Once again, I want to say my name is Patrick Osoi, the 6th. I have been in the limelight since last year, May. I came in the limelight once I retired from the US Army, and I said that I want to become the 6th president. I want to say this dream has not just started because there was wrangles last year or demonstration last year, but it's a call after realizing that the government system is here to use the people, is here to make sure that no one thrives in their business, no one gets the employment to be able to manipulate them. Therefore, I have decided to come out, not just to protect the people and the Kenyan people by the gun, but protect them in the best way to govern this country. This country does not have governance. They don't observe the rule of the law. And therefore, we have come out to make sure that we bring the leadership that we want at hand. Thank you very much for watching, and thank you very much for listening to me. Let's, all the young people, remember, you must take your ID, and taking that ID is like having your gun standby. Just having that ID is not enough. You have to register as a voter, being on standby and having your bullet inside your gun. That is not enough. When the election is coming, and even the by-elections are coming, when we vote out the rogue government, is like pulling the trigger and assassinating the bad governance that we have, the lack of accountability that we have, the lack of effectiveness and efficiency that we have in this country. Thank you very much.